At that point, we were making revenue for about maybe $200,000 a month. But what would happen after we went in there was all of a sudden we made $200,000 a day for 5 days straight.
Hey, welcome to Shopify Masters, the weekly podcast powered by Shopify, your companion for starting and building a business. I'm Shuang Esther Shan, your host for the week, and every week we're chatting with entrepreneurs to find out what they've learned while building successful businesses. Have you ever wondered why formal wear is so stuffy and uncomfortable? Well, Christian Achman, Kasper Ulrich, and Christopher Back, 3 Danish childhood friends, wanted to change that. And they wanted to do it by making classic menswear as comfortable as sportswear. With no fashion or business experience, Christian, Kasper, Christopher all got some serious pushback from their family and friends. But they were determined to bring their idea to life. Since launching Shaping New Tomorrow in 2015, they built physical stores, expanded the team to over 100 employees. The company was also named the best brand in all of Denmark just last year. Today, we're joined by Christian and Kasper, and we're gonna hear how they took their idea to an 8-figure business in a matter of few years. Welcome to Shopify Masters, Christian and Kasper.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Thanks.
So tell us how everything got started with Shaping New Tomorrow.
We were in high school thinking, why is it so hard to buy clothes that is both good looking and comfortable?
And we were sort of like 3 childhood friends set out on a mission to revolutionize the menswear industry, and we didn't have any experience in working with fashion, starting a business, but we have this, what we thought at that time was a genius idea. Not our friends and family, they didn't think it was a genius idea, but we set out to change the way that we look at traditional menswear by combining the smart features and comfort from sportswear into classic menswear in order to give the customer the opportunity to look and feel good at the same time.
Did you have any pushback or words of warning from family and friends about entering into business with your friends?
I would say one thing was entering into business with friends, but the other was like, my dad was really like, it's good that you want to play clothing store, but you really need to get an education as well, because this is not going to be something big. How are you ever going to live from this? Of course, he was supporting and he thought it was a really good idea to go out there and get some experience. But I feel like we all experienced people like, really nice, really fun guys, but remember to do something serious at some point.
From my perspective, I remember we didn't have any money when we set out to change the way of seeing classic menswear. So we sort of went to different business men to pitch the concept in order to maybe find the possibility to loan some money at some point. And the answer was everybody had the same reaction. It's a bad idea to start a business with your friend. In my desperation, I sort of turned to my father, and I know the other guys did as well, because if we could just loan some money, then we could at least get started with this concept that we wanted to create. And I can remember I sat in front of my father and pitched this concept with fire in my eyes. And at the end, it was very, very quiet. And then he looked at me and said, "Kasper, this seems like a stupid idea. Stupid idea that you think that you can do this, and a stupid idea that you want to do it with your friends." But that sort of also gave us even more motivation of showing, of course, we can do this.
You had this great concept. You wanted to make classic menswear more comfortable and more versatile. How did you even begin to talk about fabrics or finding textile makers and finding the right partners to bring your ideas to life?
We started off as making a simple business model canvas of the value proposition, what we wanted to change in the industry. It was clear to us we need the right partners in order to bring this vision to life. In the beginning, we tested some other countries just by looking at the internet, finding some suppliers. And then at some point, we reached the conclusion that Portugal has amazing suppliers that have been front movers in innovating fabrics over a long period of time. So it seems very basic, actually, because it is. We made a short list of manufacturers in all of Portugal, in the north of Portugal, and we contacted as many as possible. We contacted them by calling them and set up a lot of meetings down there. And I can assure you that this was uphill when we got there. We sent Christopher down there, and actually the first place we visited, the owner of the factory sort of laughed at us, because you can imagine these young 21-year-old guys coming and telling them, we are going to revolutionize the menswear industry and we're going to do everything you have been doing in the past in a new way. And then at some point they also talked about how much are you willing to produce? And at that time, we didn't really want high quantities because we didn't have the money to do so.
Yeah, we're speaking about maybe 100 pairs of pants in the beginning we wanted to order. So we were like, we want you to do things completely different. We want you to develop a lot of new stuff, and we don't want that much of it.
Even though there's a lot of bump on the road, we managed to find a supplier where this guy, he has just taken over his dad's company, who has been manufacturing pants professionally for 30 to 40 years. And he also wanted sort of to step out of his dad's footstep, I would say. And he really believed in our vision. And through their expertise, we were able to start the journey of innovating the way that we think about classic menswear.
After you found your ideal fabric and textile maker, how did you then go ahead with getting the right cut and the right tailoring for the specific vision that you had? So how did you go about finding the next person, the pattern maker or the designer?
That's actually also a funny story, because at the beginning we did the tailoring ourselves and the measurements together with our Portuguese partners. And a thing is that we are saying, and this is not super humble, we are humble guys, but this is not super humble. We are saying we make the perfect pants, the perfect shirts and so on. We're not saying it's perfect. It's something that we strive for it to become. So it's ever evolving, the product, and the first product that we produced at the beginning has changed a lot over time. And the way that we do this is by being at eye level with our customers online and in the shops, and gathering that data in order to make the product right for the customer. And that's also why that we are doing these marketing campaigns around embrace every shape, because our products are actually tailored to fit maybe 90% of body types, which means that if you go for a pair of our classic pants or essential pants, you can find them in plus 60 sizes to find the perfect fit for you.
When we started, we didn't have that many sizes at all. So it was kind of like trial and error, which is something that we have really been embracing and something we've had to embrace since we started not having any real experience at all. Like, I was going to be responsible for our marketing. And the only experience I had was that when I was 15 years old, I was really, really good at editing Counter-Strike videos. Casper were going to create our stores. He had 10 weeks of carpenter training. And Christopher, who were going to create our products, had never done that before. But we just had such a strong vision of what we wanted to do and was really willing to learn. We knew from the beginning that we don't know how to do this, but we see it as something positive, since we go into an industry that's so old and has been doing the same things for so long, just creating a spring collection, then a summer collection, an autumn collection, so on. We wanted to do it differently. We took the customer's perspective. Okay, how can we actually create as much value as possible for customers and not just do it the same way the fashion industry has been doing it for the past 100 years.
And that's actually also a point about exceeding customer expectations. This was part of our core DNA from the beginning, and it's a part of our core DNA in everything we do all around the company today. So exceeding customer expectation is really the goal for us.
Now that you have a few pieces, you have the fabric you want, did the online store and the physical store happen at the same time?
Yeah, so we opened up our physical store, and right after we opened a Shopify store. And the funny thing is that we actually used Shopify back then as well, but we were really new to e-commerce at that point. So we used Shopify because it was like a really easy entry-level thing that we could do ourselves. And then what actually happened later on was we were like, okay, now we need a real website. We need something else than Shopify, because Shopify is only for small businesses. But after we went to something else and we got smarter, we were like, wow, okay, Shopify is actually much more versatile than we thought. And we went back to Shopify and Shopify Plus, and has now been using it ever since. So it was really a funny exploration that we thought in the beginning that Shopify was only for small business owners, but really came back as a much bigger business and really utilized the whole strength that Shopify had.
In the first 3.5 years of our company, it was only me, Christian, and Christopher, the 3 founders. So we had to do everything ourselves, and we had no experience in doing all those sort of things. We built our own store, and we designed and innovated and engineered new materials for our products, and we built our own website without any experience. But at the beginning, it went well in our physical shop, and this was a way of us to get the constant feedback from the customer, for us to rapidly learn about testing the product and making them even better from every batch to batch.
For Christian, Casper, and Christopher, they ran Shaping New Tomorrow's retail and online store on their own with minimal help for the first 3 years. Then in 2018, they did something huge to their business, and it changed their sales trajectory forever.
We went to a TV program here in Denmark called Dragon's Den. And what would happen there is, like, at that point, we were making revenue for about $150,000 a month, or maybe $200,000 a month. But what would happen after we went in there was all of a sudden we made $200,000 a day for 5 days straight. And then we were just completely sold out. And at this point, we were still only us 3 guys and a student helper in the store. And so we were like, okay, we need to do something, because we can't be customer service and be in the store and pack orders and all these things we need to do. So we called all the friends we have, all the family we had, said, free pizza, free drinks, whatever you want, please just come and help us. So that really catapulted us so much forward in terms of making sure that we had processes and so on, especially because when we were in the Dragon's Den, we had an error on our website, and that was actually the reason why we changed back to Shopify. But we had an error on our other platform's website where when it went to 0 in stock, it just started going -1, -2, -3, and so on. And we ended up having around 2,000 orders that we weren't able to send. And then we were like, okay, this is bad, but it's also a big... it's something we really need to fix, because we only get this chance once. So we were like, okay, instead of just sending out an email saying, oh, we're sorry you can't get your products, we started calling all 2,000 people saying, we're so sorry, we will get your order in a 1.5 month, please bear with us. And the extraordinary thing happened, and that was that only maybe 3 or 4 customers out of the 2,000 said, oh no, just delete my order, because all the others just really understood. And I think they really appreciated us taking the time to explain what has happened, instead of doing the easy solution and just sending an email.
The reason why we did this was actually not because we needed funding. And that's usually why you go to Lion's Den and to get an investment. But the reason why we did it was because we could see in our physical shop, and this is a few years in the development of Shaping New Tomorrow. But what we could see online and in the physical shop was that when people came in, they thought it was a pretty high promise to say we make the perfect pants and stuff like that. But when they tried the pants on and the shirts on, they immediately got this wow feeling. This is something else. And not only that, they ended up buying most of the time a lot. And then several of weeks later, they will come back with their friends and family. So you have word of mouth marketing, which was sort of the reason why we grew at the beginning. So we thought to ourselves, why not participate in one of the biggest national broadcasted television show and tell our concept, because there might be a chance that people will find our concept interesting and try it on. And that was actually what happened. We had planned for it to go very well, but we had not scale our processes or anything. So as Christian also mentioned, all these errors on the website, and a big issue was also that in our physical shop, people would come in and we had a queue of hundreds of people standing outside and waiting to come in, and they could try the pants, they could see the pants. The problem was when they wanted to buy them, we didn't have them. So you had to wait like 6 or 8 weeks in order to get them. This sort of phase was also something that made us mature a lot in terms of hiring the first people and actually creating a skillful organization and developing processes. We implemented Shopify again at this point in order not to have these error happens. And this was sort of made within a few months. We made a foundation that was ready to grow even and further. And during this year, if we look at the year beforehand, we grew more than 1,000% because of this peak in sales. But then the same thing happened as what we experienced in the shops. So the year after, we could open our second store and then the third store and expand to new markets online.
I think this is like true for a lot of business this way. They do see a lot of publicity and success after going on Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, in whichever version of it. I want to loop back a little bit when we talked about how in the very beginning, when you were having both retail and online and you realize, my family and friends, I've sold to all the people that I could possibly sell to. How did you then start to market, and what were some of the things you did to reach a bigger audience?
Yeah, so back then, we were still trying to figure out how do we actually tell this story. We came by the crowdfunding site, Kickstarter, and were like, let's do a Kickstarter campaign to really get it to mass market and also really to test out the product. And we had a all right successful campaign. I think it was around $30,000, which was a lot for us back then. What crowdfunding really taught us was to focus much more about the problem solving way than just focusing on the typical fashion way where it's just like models walking around looking good. So what we did here was like we took a karate expert and really made him do crazy tricks in the pants and did some parkour and so on to really showcase how stretchy the pants were, and which were like, it was just a complete eye-opener for us to really do it this way instead.
Did you have any paid ads, social media, any tactics you also accompanied with the Kickstarter campaign?
We just run it on Kickstarter. And I would say the biggest learning from running that campaign, as Christian said, we took instead of showing the products, we told the story of what does these products do for you as the customer. It's sort of a logic approach towards communicating. And I would say this approach we sort of put into everything we did afterwards and in our social media advertisement for our own website. And this sort of was the change in terms of having 0 orders a day to actually achieving orders every single day. This is something we have scaled the model by telling the customers what is unique about the product and what does this do for you. And then we have the other angle, which is the stretch further mentality about we want people to be enabled to stretch further in their life and inspire people. And this karate guy from Kickstarter, we have done that in several of ways with, this could be portraying an entrepreneur. This could be by portraying some athletes and stuff like that, but showing a lifestyle that they can rely on and that shows that you can stretch further in your everyday life. It's super convenient that you can look and feel good at the same time. And we want to show this in our advertisement. Yeah.
And in terms of social media and paid advertising and so on, what we focused on in the beginning was really after the Kickstarter campaign, we had a slogan that we bursted out a lot. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to curse on this podcast, but I'm going to do it anyway, which were fuck sweatpants, stay classy. What we've always been really good at is the creative part and really making something catchy in videos, photos and texts and so on. What we weren't as good at that point, but we got agencies to help us with, was the more programmatic part, Google ads and this stuff. So we have agencies helping us for all the technical side of social media and Google and so on now. And then we do all of the creatives in-house. We have a big creative team creating everything from text, photos, videos. And that has really shown to be one of the crucial development points for our company, is that we can have a good idea. We can make a quick test about it. We can, let's say, for example, we have this new fun idea to throw water on the pants because they're water repellent. Let's see if that's something the market does like. Do a quick test. See, okay, if people do like it, okay, let's dive more into this subject and create a bigger campaign about it. So it's been a really big benefit for us having these creative resources internally, because I think especially in the beginning, you don't really have money to go out and hire creative agencies and so on to help you. So if you're not able to do these things yourself, you're off to a hard start, I would say.
What's really important just from your stories right now, I think, is a lot of the times creative pieces is a part of your DNA, and it's kind of like the artistic side of who you are. And it's crucial for a lot of people to also know that you can get help in areas that you're probably not the best at.
The first cup of coffee, it was awful.
Meet Rod Johnson, co-founder of Black & Bold, a premium specialty coffee and tea company powered by Shopify.
The journey of Black & Bold started with us opening our online Shopify store while we were burning beans in my business partner's garage. Shopify allows us to stay true to our mission by having an easily customizable and responsive site. They make it very easy for novices to try their hand in becoming entrepreneurs.
Get a free 14-day trial at shopify.com/podcast.
So Shaping New Tomorrow has grew substantially from their Kickstarter success and national TV appearance. They now have 5 retail stores in Denmark, with one that just recently opened in Germany. They also are an 8-figure business that just so happens to be able to multiply their sales by 10 times in the last year. And of course, it's not just Christian, Casper, or Christopher. They now have over 100 employees within their team.
We were friends at the beginning. We are not anymore. So no, I'm kidding. It takes a lot of reflecting and development, personal development, and to be concrete on how do you do that. And I think there's a ton of different answers towards this, but we have actually hired an external coach to help us develop with the company. I spend a lot of time when hiring and working with a lot of experienced people, telling them also what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and making them challenge me in terms of doing things better. How can we become better together?
But I think the crucial part here is that if you want to come from being a startup where it's only like a couple of guys doing a little bit of everything to becoming a scale up and taking the next step from there, it's really important that you understand that you can't keep having so many responsibilities and so many jobs as you did in the beginning. And it's not because you're not good at them, and it's not because that we are not happy, that I'm not happy with the job Casper has been doing, or he's not happy with what I've been doing. But if we want to scale, we really need to start specializing. And that's what we've been doing the last couple of years.
And I think we have been doing a quite good job at keeping the culture as entrepreneurial as when we started, I would say. And this is for a fact what I hear from new colleagues starting every month, that it's crazy to see the ambition and the friendliness and the helpfulness throughout the organization. And I would say that the DNA is still centralized on innovation and development. And the Danish culture, I would say, where we believe that a great idea can come from everyone within the company. We really strive to push that forward.
Yeah, we don't have much of a hierarchy here. And we're really trying to keep the startup culture, but of course use the scale up and big business structure and to create a workplace of tomorrow as well.
I wanted to ask about the initial part of expanding the team, because it comes with a lot of placing trust in people who are new to the organization, and also ensuring that they have your trust, but also entrusting them with the vision that you have and the ideas that you have.
So one of the most important things when we hire people in the bigger positions where we really have to give away responsibility has always been to find people who are much smarter at this exact area than we are. Because I know know for a fact that if we hired people that we didn't think did a better job than what we could have done, then we wouldn't have been able to trust them. But by hiring people who are really, really smart at what they do has really made it easy for us to give away this power and control, because if they do it, it will become much better. And our goal in the end is to make Shaping New Tomorrow the best brand possible. And we know ourselves from working a lot on ourselves and giving each other feedback. What am I good at? What is Casper good at? And let's try to become really, really good at that instead of trying to be a little bit good on a lot of things.
And it's all about a mentality again, that we are able to be honest with each other. And we emphasize this. One thing when we look at candidates for new positions, we always look at their competencies and their experience. But another thing which is equally important is their cultural fit and their mindsets. Because in a scale-up company, there's a lot of change all the time, and you need to thrive in change. From the beginning, we also agreed amongst the founders that we are not able to scale this into an international success alone. And we knew that. And we also needed to make sacrifices here and there and accept that sometimes I would have done things differently. But maybe if they don't do it the same way, it will be maybe even better. We need to let people go and hire smart people and get out of their way as well.
Let's talk about international expansion. At which point did you build an English site in addition to a Danish site? And at which point did you realize we have customers from Germany that love our product and also other markets?
Actually, a couple of years ago, after we started to be on top of the whole Dragon's Den adventure and like really starting to get our processes right, we were like, okay, we think we are ready to scale now, but we were still a pretty small team at this point. We were maybe 15 people or something like that. But we knew, okay, let's start going internationally. But as I said, we knew that we weren't able to like just go to the whole of Europe at once because we were such a small team. So we wanted to find a market and try to dominate that, and just instead of just trying to spread out. So what we did is that we made 4 clone shops of our website. We made an English version, we made a Dutch version, and we made a German version and a Swedish version. Then we took content we already had, changed the wording in it to be local as well, to see where we would have the initial market fit. Because at that point we still knew, okay, we're not going to be able to create a whole lot of different content for these markets in the beginning. So let's find somewhere where we actually have a good fit from the get-go. And what we saw was that Germany was by far ahead compared to the others. And then we chose Germany as a big priority, but it was like, okay, but let's keep Sweden going as well. We won't focus on it as much, but we'll focus mostly on Germany. And then we actually closed down the two other sites. We revamped the UK site to be just a English-speaking site instead, but we don't focus on it at all. We focus on Germany and we focus on Denmark and then a little bit on Sweden and Norway.
So this was sort of like making a minimum viable product in order to test the market and then do some cash deployment, and then choosing one market because we all, as Christian mentioned, we knew that we were not able to provide what was needed for every market. So instead of doing that, we wanted really to concentrate in order to dominate a market when going into Germany. A lot of people also saying that, why did you choose Germany? Because it's maybe the hardest one of them. And I agree, it is one of the hardest markets in Europe. They do everything in their Ordnung muss sein own way. But again, this is also quite a challenge for us, that if we can crack the code here, we can crack the code in a lot of other European markets as well.
Yeah, we are always up for a good challenge.
Exactly.
Since 2018, Shaping New Tomorrow's growth has been astronomical. They've reached over 8,000% growth, and this achievement was marked by the Gazelle Award, which has named them as the best business of 2021 in all of Denmark.
It was the fastest growing company within the whole of Denmark. E-commerce, retail, production, everything. So, and we won that by a growth rate of over 8,000% over the last 4 years. And I don't think we would ever have dreamed in our wildest dreams that would be possible when we just started, us 3 guys and our dad saying, yeah, but remember to get an education.
But to be concrete, I would say from the beginning, we have been running our business for 7 years, and it's been an average of approximately 100% a year. So The 8,000% growth seems like a ridiculous high number, but it's measured from year 1 to 4, which of course I don't think we will have the same price next year with 8,000%, but we're still striving to grow a lot.
Congratulations to all the things that you guys are doing. One thing I also wanted to highlight is the sustainability factor that you guys have incorporated into your fabrics. The fact that it is made from recycled plastics. I think a lot of the times there is this tension for consumers within fashion where, you know, you do want new pieces in your wardrobe and you want to make the most conscious choice. So I love the fact that you guys kind of build that within the start of this business.
I can say that in the beginning it was important for us. One thing is that it's classic menswear, so it's slow fashion that never goes out of style. So if you buy a pair of pants today, you can wear them easily in 2 years. Another thing is that we always strive to make the highest quality, which makes the fabric last longer. And then we want to, when we talk about sustainability, we want to do every single product within our core DNA. It needs to be good looking, it needs to be comfortable, it needs to be functional, and it needs to be sustainable. Because what we experience is that a lot of people, they sort of see this as a bonus, but if you don't have the core DNA in the product, then people won't buy it, and then it's not a sustainable business. But we are always striving to do it. We call this the zero waste strategy. Most of our products is nose product, which means it's never out of stock. It's the same product, maybe in different colors and so on. So we have close to, it's less than 1% of our products which is never sold. The industry standard is 30%, so it's a huge difference. And what we have in spare and what we have in potential claims, you can't avoid that, but we will recycle this into second life products. So what does this mean? This means that, for instance, we are right now implementing from this less than 1%. We are also taking these extra stock and making this into other products. And you can make this into the same product, but we can make it into furniture and stuff like that. So if you go to our shop, in the changing rooms, it will be made out of our old pants.
Yeah, and also it's like, as you said, like this plastic thing is really something big. And so far we introduced our essential pants, which is made out of recycled plastic, and also our blazer. And since we released them 2 years ago, we've recycled millions of plastic bottles found in nature and in the oceans and so on, and really giving them a new life. And I think that's such an important thing, is to really figure out for the humankind to really, how can we make waste something useful again? If we don't find a way to reuse what we already have, we're never going to find a solution to this problem. So that's really been one of the things that we've been focusing on. And also what Kasper is saying is like really creating long-lasting products. So it's also a customer shift of mind that they have to understand that, okay, I buy this and it's a bit more expensive, but it will also last me that much longer and be more sustainable. So that's really the big change in customer behavior that hopefully we will see much more of in the coming years.
To wrap things up, I wanted to ask what you guys are envisioning for the future and plans that you can share.
Yeah, so we've always had a great product and we've created great content. But what we're doing right now is really getting the brand strategy in order together with some external help to really make this possible to scale big and really have defined guidelines but also room to play to really create a distinctive and unique brand. Because I mean, our brand name, Shaping New Tomorrow, it's a big brand promise, but it's also something that we do want to deliver on. So really figuring out what does this mean and what can we provide to the world with this stretch further and an inspirational part, and trying to inspire men to get further out in their stretch zone and not get stuck in that comfort zone. So really getting this defined is some of my big tasks ahead.
And another thing is that we want to create the future of classic menswear. And we want to do this one product at a time. So this means that we have a ton of innovation in our innovation pool in the pipeline for the future. And for now, we have, I would say we have succeeded in creating unique products that really exceed the customer's expectation in terms of our perfect pants, the perfect shirts, and the perfect suits, where it's these products is something you usually see them and you will say, this doesn't seem comfortable to wear, but it's fantastic. You feel like wearing pajamas when you're wearing a suit. So what we want to do is do even more innovations in the future in terms of these product styles in order to own the whole wardrobe.
Amazing. I ask, I think, a lot of the guests this because I think you guys had moments where you could have easily said no and turned back or stopped building when people said you shouldn't be in business with your friends, or when you started to notice you've sold to all the friends and family you could, or when you notice those minus 2,000 orders on your website. What is it that you think kept you guys going to keep on working past those kind of hurdles?
I think it's an embedded optimism and ambitious belief in our vision. And we actually had something that was missing in the market. You know, fashion industry is a red ocean, but we took it with this logical approach to it and made it, from our perspective, we thought this is a blue ocean for us. And we kept believing in that. You need to understand that there's going to be 1,000 walls that you're going to run into. And the ones that are going to have success is the ones that can keep standing up and changing directions and keep learning as they go along and believing in their vision.
I completely agree with Kasper. But again, I also think that the reason why we kept going is because no matter how hard it's been or no matter what happens, we were doing this free best childhood friends. So everything we did was just so fun. It was like, I couldn't imagine what I should do else. We've had ups and downs with each other, but it's like, we're just having the best time of our lives. And I can't imagine anything better than what we're doing. So it's never really been a choice to stop or keep going.
Yeah. And even though we have a lot of failures and a lot of bumps on the way, we're doing it together and we have each other's back. And I think that's also a part of the culture today, that we are failing and we are succeeding together and we have each other's back in everything we do. And that, as Christian says, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of hours that we put into the business. But as long as it's fun and we are in it together, then I've never seen it as an option of saying, nah, we are not going to continue. It's never been an option.
No. We'll keep being friends.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much to take time out of your schedule to share your learnings with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being with us.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Shopify Masters. If you enjoyed the story of shaping new tomorrow, please leave us a review on your listening platform so the show can be discovered by others. I'm Schwang Esther Shan. Until next time on Shopify Masters.